Hey folks, welcome back to another league racing video. We're back with CSGB this time. After a 2-week break for me, we're at Spa-Francorchamps, my favourite track on the calendar, for round 4 of the 8th season of CSGB. Just getting warmed up on the grid after a pretty decent qualifying, 4th place, I believe. Setting up our strategy to begin the race on the medium tyres, and looking to capitalise on this position pretty early on. With only a few drivers in the lobby for this race, 13 out of a possible 20, but we're waiting on the grid in 4th with the lights coming on and lights out, and away we go. And it's a fairly decent start relative to Boy when we get the jump on PSV and Boy for that matter, up to second at the moment, but Gamer gets a good start as well. He's down the inside, we have to leave him space, so he gets a good drag out of the corner, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that result, but we've gained a position out of that. So we've got to be happy with that to begin with, as we carry the speed through Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time on this in this 22-lap race. We pick up a track limit warning on the way up the hill, so not ideal early on in the session. Even less ideal for Boyworm there as he crashes out of Radion corner, heading onto the Kemmel Straight. We start approaching the back of Brad's Williams as McGamer puts the move on him and takes the lead. On the hard tyres, they're showing really good pace in the Mercedes at the moment, as PSV finds the gap down the inside of us. But unfortunately, we make a little mistake here. We run a bit wide with the understeer and tap the back end of PSV. Really unfortunate contact because no malice whatsoever, just genuinely a miscalculation. Tyres were probably a bit cold as well, which certainly didn't help matters. So we knew there was going to be some form of penalty on the way at the end of the race. So there was a little bit of pressure on to make sure that whatever pace we had, we made sure to open that gap out. So we come to the end of the second lap and Brad goes and sets the fastest lap. We do a 1:48.4. It was all about just staying with these guys up the front, trying to stay in McGamer's toe and keep getting the DRS to pull ourselves away from Pro Mayhem, as that incident caused quite a lot of backing up of the pack, which created a big gap as McGamer out of La Source gets on the traction a little bit too much and puts it in the barrier, which then brought out a full safety car on lap 4 of the race. So at that point we thought, well, we started on mediums, we could go to hards now and run them long, because they should make it from here. In fact, they definitely will. They'll just be very second hand by the end. It wasn't the optimal strategy, but the safety car did provide the opportunity to get off those tyres. As you see, a few drives ahead of us as we get to the restart, most of which, in fact, everyone in front of us hasn't pit yet. So it's effective lead with our teammate just behind us as well. MC Palms in the other Aston Martin, and we get underway. We've not got the best start really. I think tyres were just absolutely freezing cold, weren't too confident on the power. As a result of that, Ryan was sort of eking out that second gap almost immediately, so we had our work cut out straight away, try and build that temperature and build up the pace and stay with Ryan. Unfortunately we did, so there was people pitting. It was KPP that came in a lap or so before that, and Ryan there on the inside. We close up and we're within DRS now, and we get a good drag down the straight here. Go side by side, heading into Eau Rouge, but we play it safe here because we've got the Kemmel Straight that we can use to try and make this move. We put him out of position a little bit, so we got an even better run than we otherwise would have got. And yeah, we get a nice drag with the DRS, plenty of straight line speed. Even in race pace, we're up at 205 mile an hour, which is pretty excellent. Yeah, very low wing set up for this particular race, which was working wonders for our straight line speed. As on lap 10, as starting lap 10, Brad opted to pit off of his medium tyres, which, with Crazy Ryan also pitting at some point, or he was due to come in at some point, we were in a really good spot. We had at least 8 seconds ahead of the next car that had completed their mandatory stop, which was really, really positive. And setting really consistent lap times, they had good straight line speed, and everything was looking pretty rosy. And this was also crucial because of the penalty that would be on the way at the end of the race. We do then get a safety car, unfortunately, which undid all that hard work and undone all of the effort that was put in to get that time out and resist the penalty that would be incoming, the time loss from that. So we had it all to do again as we're leading the way on the safety car restart, which is pretty unusual for me. So took it nice and steady to begin with, try and back everyone up as much as possible, and opted to go well before the bus stop chicane as we head in, and Brad and Neko-chan would be keeping us very honest with Brad's pace and Neko-chan being on the soft tyres. So yeah, we had to work out to try and keep these drivers behind us as we go on to lap 15 of the race. We're well into the second half now. And the tyres by this point were in a good range, a good temperature range. And Neko-chan was fighting Brad as well for that second place. And crucially, in the context of the race, Neko-chan found his way past to take second. And with that superior pace on the softs at this point, it made it almost impossible to really hold him off. Despite the straight line speed we had on the hards, he was carrying DRS, had better pace on the softs, and we went defensive here, which I was hoping would be enough, but he did then take the inside line. We tried to hold it around the outside, went side by side all the way through the Lecom chicane, and in the end he did get it done, so he had a bit more in the tank. He has carried a 3-second penalty as well, and given the age of those tyres, we're expecting him in at some point. So that's something that we had to bear in mind, but we wanted to try and make the use of his pace and stay with him, which is proving difficult already. As you can see, 1.2 seconds ahead already, so we couldn't make use of his DRS, unfortunately. So it's all going to be down to pace now. Having said that, owing to our straight line speed, we did end up bringing that gap down quite significantly and almost got into DRS. I don't recall if we actually managed to grab it on this lap. But certainly our setup was allowing us to capitalise on some higher VMAX, which we're really utilising to our advantage. As Neko-chan's tyres really started going off at this point, as the softs really don't last long on this game, let alone at this circuit. So we're capitalising on that. The hard's durability was certainly playing into our hands, and we were pushing on to try and get that run on Neko-chan, and we got a good tow. It was good timing catching him here, because it gave us the opportunity to use our ERS and the DRS assistance to carry us well past Neko-chan before the braking zone at Lecom. So carrying 211 mile an hour there, really top stuff as the fuel burns off, albeit 4 laps over, which has never been my strong suit, picking the right amount of fuel, because you never know if you're going to get a safety car. As Neko-chan, with those very worn soft tyres, finds himself in the barrier out of Lecom, and he's no longer a threat anymore. And to be honest, with the way his tyres were going, I don't think he would have been anyway. But as we're coming on to the end of lap 20, we made a mistake into bus stop chicane. And as a result of that, we ended up giving the place up to Brad, which is really, really unfortunate at that point. However, we were conscious that our straight line speed was definitely there. We had, the DRS assistance going down the straight. So we're perfectly capable of getting this position back. And obviously, we're very conscious of that impending penalty for the incident with PSV earlier on in the race, so we were really sort of banking on this idea that we'll try and get away and do what we can and hope that it's a lenient penalty or they have some kind of issue themselves to try and get us this win. But at the moment, it was basically P3 provisionally, with that decision most certainly incoming, and after the fact now we've had results confirm that certainly was the case. So yeah, we take the lead back off of Brad down that straight, making full use of that top speed that we're carrying here, which was a damn sight better than the last time I raced at Spa. And coming on to the final lap now, we got a really quite nice run, at least I think so. It was a bit squirrely, but I think Brad may have got a poor run himself. And that was absolutely crucial, because what that meant is he couldn't really get the run on us up the hill. Despite having DRS, he was still too far back. So we burnt as much of ERS as we dared, going down towards Eau Rouge and heading up through the Radion Hill, and we were carrying plenty of speed at 6.5 temps, and it's still growing despite the DRS isn't open yet, but it's still growing a little bit, that gap. So we had enough, and what that meant is Crazy Ryan started getting involved with Brad, and those two went side by side through the Lecom chicane, and with that, Brad, there was some contact, and Brad found himself round in the middle of the chicane, and as a result of that, it basically helped us to cement what we thought was going to be a P2 at this point, which is amazing, but we're aware of this penalty that was going to be incoming, so we just kept pushing in case a miracle happened and both of them made a mistake. So, yeah, a good run through Pouon still. The tyres were just about clinging on at this point, really, probably about 65-70% wear, and we're just trying to keep it cool, collected, and try and not do anything rash, not make any big mistakes, but then also fully aware of the threat of Ryan if he could try and get past us again. But coming out of Stavolo, a miracle did indeed happen as Crazy Ryan went round and it gifted us the opportunity to take this victory despite the post-race penalty that will be coming in. And despite 2 weeks away from CSGB, we came back on our return at Spa, my favourite track on the calendar, to take a victory and the full 25 points.
Do we fucking won? Yes! Yes!
Well done, mate!
Yes!
Please, one of you fuck up in the comments.
Yes! Yes! Come on!
Oh, I was round the Brad's ring, I couldn't quite get him, but P4, I'll happily take that as well.
Yes!
Oh, they both fucked up on the final lap. Well done, mate.
Despite, if there's a penalty coming, it doesn't matter!
11, almost 12 seconds.
Oh my god. Oh my god, we fucking won Belgium! Oh, fucking hell, man. Dude, you got P4, right?
I got P4, I was so, when I saw Brad had spun, I was like, I'm coming for your ass.
As it stands as well, remember. As it stands, there might still be more to come yet.
And indeed there was, as Matt ended up finishing P3 after post-race penalties with Crazy Ryan picking up a penalty for that contact with Brad. So we ended up with a 1-3 for Aston Martin. Really important points to the championship, 40 points. And then I took 25 to contribute to my drivers. So yeah, pretty amazing result for the team.
For those people who quit out, who were in it and decided to retire for whatever reason, like, come on, you would have had a minimum of 6th place.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
In that race. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know. For a setup I picked out yesterday, after a bit of practice, I'll take that. I'll really take that.